So I've never used Streamlabs before. It opens it opens a window of Stream Chat, so I don't have to have a window of Stream Chat. That's pretty cool. Okay, so hello to everyone who's here watching us. If we have anybody listening right now, we have it's me and Jacob. Jacob, say hi.
It's your boy.
Oh God, he's so loud. Hold on. Me and Jacob doing our Review It podcast. We've been gone for
A cool minute.
a cool minute, a really long time. I forget how long we've actually. How long we lived in Chico? Oh, I'm sorry.
Since about February.
Yeah, we've lived here since February. We did the podcast like in March, I think, and it's now it's now November. But I dropped the ball on uploading podcasts because we with work and stuff, it's just been really.
I can give a short summary if you'd like.
Okay, go ahead.
We recorded the first podcast. The laptop broke. We then got into a car accident. Had 2 vacations, one half vacation, one real vacation. The car that we bought to replace the car that got wrecked broke because we're idiots. And fast forward to now.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Jacob was involved in an accident with our previous car.
Wasn't my fault. Let's get that out of the
Yeah,
way.
it wasn't his fault. Let's be honest real quick. It was we were found not at fault, so the insurance paid out and gave us enough money
It's a different story. It's different story for a different time. You're not going to review the insurance process.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Michael now lives with us. Friend of the podcast, Gam 3 years 10 in the chat.
He's technically a friend of the family.
I know. How do I whatever.
Lived with
Oh yeah, he's a mod. I was gonna say I should mod Michael, but I realize now that he's a mod. So yeah, Michael now lives with us. So he'll probably be included in the future. But yeah, pretty much we've been really busy with a lot of stuff, and when we get off of work and stuff, it's been kind of hard for us to focus on the podcast. I've been wanting to do something creative though for a while. So is Jacob. So I'm at least excited to be back doing this. At least I like talking to everybody. I like talking to Jacob about stuff. So that's where we've been. Usually, yes. Sometimes he comes into my room and then I'm just like, dog, are you for real right now? So yeah, that pretty much wraps up where we've been. There's another thing I wanted to talk about before we got into reviewing things and talking like we normally do. Last week, over the course of a few days, a friend of my family's and a friend of ours here on the podcast passed away. And I just wanted to plug really quick the GoFundMe for the family for the funeral costs. His name was Jimmy Montez, and he was a friend of mine. And when we were younger, and I was able to spend a lot of time with him, he was a pretty cool guy. He's a close friend of. Sorry about that. Close friend of my sister, and her boyfriend Thomas was his cousin, and just wanted to. I've been friends with the family for years. Me and Alicia have been friends with the family for years. Just want to plug it so you guys can go ahead and donate if you can. Anything helps, of course. Most importantly is just getting the word out really does help, and then the family's going through a lot right now, so it would mean a lot to me if anybody helped. The link is in the Twitch bio right now, or I forget what this is called, the description of the stream, and it will be in the upload of the YouTube video later. It'll definitely be in the box. that's pretty much my intro. Um, that's all we need to talk about. Jacob, are you still with me?
Yep.
Okay, so there was a couple things that we wanted to review separately and together that we talked about. Real quick, I'll go over one of mine. Um, I had never before we went on the I went. I think I mentioned it on the podcast and said I would review it when I came back. But flying is definitely not something I am a fan of. For those of you who
I
don't
mean,
know,
is it
what?
getting felt up beforehand?
Okay, so yeah, I'll tell the whole story. But basically, for those of you who don't know, I'm 6'4", and
And a thick dude, a
yeah,
thick bit.
and I'm a thick bitch. So that means that I definitely do not have size on my side when it comes to how small airplanes are getting now. But so the first thing I did is I had to drive from here to Sacramento, which is not a big deal. I drive all the time for work. But I at the TSA every time, all four times I had to get checked by TSA, they felt me up like very strongly. And when I
See,
asked
if you see this man's glutes, you know he's got a couple of WMDs in there.
I mean, they treated it that way because they did the whole scanner thing, and they were like, "I'm sorry, sir, we gotta get in there with our hands." And I'm like, "Okay." So the first
They
time they
really
did
had
it,
to get in.
the first time they did it, I was like, "Oh, okay, whatever, not a big deal." But then it happened the next three times, so I was wondering why it happened. So the second time I asked, and they were like, "Oh, it's because there's a lot of heat in that region." Specifically my butt and my crotch
You're
area.
getting real heated.
Yeah, I was like, okay, obviously it's gonna be really hot. I'm a fat dude. Like, I'm walking, I'm traveling. This stuff is not something my I.
That's where all your energy's generated.
Yes, exactly. So,
It's like a thermonuclear reactor.
yeah, anybody who rubs through their pants like I do, I'm sorry, they can't. Who like their thighs rub together and rub holes in their pants. There we go. That sounds less gross. Will
But
understand. Uh,
how many watts are you generating?
probably I don't know. Probably like a short life D battery like amount of energy.
Is it like one of those energy spots in Supreme Commander? You know, the 2x2 ones?
I would not say it's that powerful. I'd say it's enough to power like a crank flashlight, maybe. Like without any cranking,
All
obviously,
right,
just
my
me.
Minecraft speculation. Is it like a block of wood or a piece of coal? Or in
Uh,
the middle of like a charcoal?
I would say it's probably a charcoal, not a coal, but definitely not.
That's solid. That's solid.
So I'm generating all this heat, right, from walking around the airport to get to my flights, and they flag me. They're like, "Hey, there's a lot of heat. We gotta fill you up to make sure that there's nothing going on here." And I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, "Okay, that makes sense." And then I think, no, it doesn't, because whoever is gonna be trying to put something dangerous on this plane isn't gonna be stupid enough to let it produce massive amounts of heat. But you know, that happened, and then it took me forever to get to my terminal. And then once I'm at the terminal, they're like, "Oh, by the way, your luggage is a couple inches too big. It's going to be $60 to store it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Can I just pay right here?" And they're like, "No, you have to go back." And I'm like, "Why?"
Wait, what's the alternative? They just keep your shit? They give it to you back? What's happened?
They
You
don't
don't
let you
pay
on
the
the
six?
or I mean, I guess you would have to find somewhere to put the luggage and just tell them you don't want to check it anymore or something. I really don't. I really don't know. I kind of had to have it, because I was gonna be there for the first time I went. I only had a backpack because I was only there for a day. For reference, I had to fly to Georgia for my job. I flew there for a day. I flew there like a Monday, came back a Wednesday, and was only there for a Tuesday basically. But then the next time I went for 2 weeks. So I had to obviously take enough clothes for 2 weeks, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna do laundry. So I took 2 weeks worth of clothes, not 1 week of clothes, and was like, "Oh, I'll be able to wash them like a normal person would when they live their life." But so they were like, "Your luggage is too big," but they made me walk all the way back. So I was already upset about that. And then they were like, "Oh, we don't know if we can take your card." I was like, "What do you mean you don't know if you can take your card? My card? Aren't you an
It's
air?
like
What?
it's like an AM PM gas station.
Yeah, basically, they're like, "Oh, we don't take credit," but not accurately. They obviously took credit, but they're like, "Oh, I don't know if we take this type of Amex." I was like, "What does that even mean?" It's my company's flight. They're like, "You might have to pay with your own card." I was like, "Shouldn't you guys know this? Like, how many people fly out of this airport? This is not a small airport by any means."
Wait, was this when you got into Georgia?
No, no, no. This is before I flew out of Sacramento.
Okay.
So, oh, the Georgia airport, dude, is the biggest airport I've ever seen in my life. But I'll explain that in a little bit. Once I get that taken care of and walk back to my flight, I'm in line to get in the plane, and some lady's like tries to cut in front of me, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm actually business boarding." And she's like, "Oh, well, I you didn't look very professional," and I was like, "Okay."
Oh shit!
I was like, "Okay, this
Was
this
it the big
lady's."
scruffy beard? Was it the wide demeanor?
I I don't know what it was, but
Was it the
obviously,
imposing height?
I mean, it's an airport. There's people like getting on the plane in pajamas, so I'm wondering to myself like, why do you care? Like, there was no reason to make that comment. You know what I mean? So, so I tell her to get to the back of the line because she's being a jerk. Then we board. The boarding process. I tell the dude who's boarding us, I'm like, "Hey man, I'll be honest with you. I did some research about flying, and I know that with fat dudes, it's a big problem. Can you vouch for me if I'm going to be fine?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, man, we fit way fatter dudes than you on the plane." I'm like, "Oh, thank God."
Damn.
So I
Damn.
was like, "Oh, thank
Damn.
God." So I fit. I sit in the. Oh my God. I sit in the seat. I fit, luckily, and next to me on my way there is. Oh wait. This is my first flight, so that would mean on the way there it was. Oh yes, luckily it was a baby. A baby sitting next to me with the mom, and she put the baby
That's
in the
not the
middle.
first thing you think when you get into a flight. You don't think, "Thank God, a baby," but
Yeah, okay, so as a fat guy, my manager at the time was like, "Hey man, just letting you know you're going to need to get an aisle seat. You're going to need to demand an aisle seat or you're not going to be able to fly because you're not going to have anywhere to put your legs." And I'm like, "Fair enough." So I get the aisle seat because that's what I paid for was an aisle seat. So I get to the aisle and then she's like, "Oh, I'll put the baby between us." So that means that I am no longer imposing on normal person's space. I'm imposing the baby's space. And this baby is obviously not going to care because I'm not that fat where I'm like taking up two seats basically. I just I don't want my arms like in a person's face and stuff like that. So, and she has the baby on her lap the majority of the flight. And then I found out that she's actually um a pilot for Delta Airlines. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." She's like, "Yeah, we get unlimited flights as long as we fly coach or whatever it's called now, economy." So I'm like, "Oh, cool." So she was really nice. She told me about flying the that type of plane and then flying an Airbus because I asked about it. She said they're rare because they're made by Russians or something. Um, and the only problem I had was the fact that every time the cart came by with the drinks, the stewardesses wouldn't ask me to move or anything. They would just hit my leg with the cart all hard. So I'd have to be
teach you a
100%.
lesson. To teach you a lesson.
I know that that's what it's for, but I was like, "Ma'am, I get that that's not what you want is my leg out in the middle of the way, but I'm going. It's mandatory, basically. If that doesn't happen, my knees are going to be destroying whoever's back is in
Should've just
front of
got
me."
hammered in retaliation.
Okay, so that's on my flight back. So I fly there. It's cramped. It's 4 hours from Sacramento to Atlanta, Georgia. I land in this massive airport, and I call the number that my company gave me for the shuttle. I call, and the guy goes, "Oh no, man, I'm not the right guy. You need to call this guy." And I'm like, "Okay, where's his number?" And he gives it to me, and I call, and it redirects to that first guy. And he's like, I told you, man, I'm not the right guy. I'm like,
Damn.
I'm like, "No, dude, this is, you gave me that number, redirect." He's like, "Oh, that must mean he's away from his office." I'm like, "Okay, that's what I would think if he was picking me up, right, in a shuttle at 8 p.m. He would be in the car, right, not in the office." And he's like, "I don't have his cell phone." I'm like, "What?" And then he's like, "Let me see if I can email him." So he emails him, I guess, and then the guy calls me and is like, "Hey, I need you to go out the right exit." No, I'm in the like middle of the airport, so I don't know what that means. What do you mean the right from where? Like right door coming out the front, right side facing north? Like this dude would not tell me. So I eventually found out where there was a bunch of buses, and I call him back. I'm like, "Hey, I'm where the buses are." And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's where we need to be." And then he just shows up. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then he takes me to my hotel, which is not the main company's hotel. I do my stupid class and then I fly back the next day. Same thing. WMD in my pants. Um,
Yep.
the person I
Getting all up in there.
the person I sit next to this time is a smaller person, so they don't complain or anything. But I I'm sleep deprived because I didn't sleep at all because it 3 hour difference and it was only there for one day, so I wasn't able to adjust my jet lag or anything. So I tell
Like
the
a
lady
2 hour jet lag, 2 hour difference,
3 hour difference
3 hours.
because Atlanta, Georgia is Eastern Standard Time. So that would mean that when it's 10 there, it's 7 here, and I'm not going to bed till midnight here. So I'm only going to bed 9 there, but I got to wake up at 6 there, which is 3 here. So that's the hardest part was the waking up part. And
So did you enjoy your first battle with time dilation, whatever it's called?
no, because I was actually unable to sleep. I called our friend Brett works with me. I called Brett at like my midnight. I was like, "Brett, I can't sleep, dude, and I need to be up in like 5 hours. What do I do?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have problems sleeping in hotels too." I'm like, "That's it? That's all the advice?" He couldn't really help me, but I was panicking,
He
man.
was
I was
there
like,
for moral support. He was telling you weren't alone, man.
but
Sometimes that's all you need to fall asleep.
no, I get that, but it didn't help. It physically didn't help. I stayed up till like 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and woke up at 6. And I got an hour of sleep. I took the class, which was pointless because I didn't learn anything in the class. And then I flew back, sleep deprived, like I said, WMD, etc. When I get on the plane, the corporate card pays for $25 of food or drink a day. And no, not 25 a day. It's actually 50 a day. But I was flying for most of the day, so I was like, "Oh, I just might as well spend it on the plane." So I tell the chick, I'm like, "Can I get some alcohol to drink?" She's like, "Sure. What would you like?" And then I go, whatever has the highest alcohol volume percent in one drink, so that way I can just get.
Very technical and polite way of saying, get me fucked up.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want the highest alcohol per volume by volume, so that way I can get buzzed and fall asleep. And she's like, "Well, sir, no offense, but that's not what the drinks are for." And I'm like, "Okay, ma'am, I don't know what universe you live in that alcohol is not for getting drunk, but that's not this universe. Just a heads up." So she was all upset at me the entire time. She wouldn't serve me food. She wouldn't give me water.
A fucking alcohol purist over here.
I know. I was like, "Ma'am, please." So she gets all mad. I fly back, super sleep deprived. I only sleep for like an hour and a half. I watch one episode of the Orville with what's his face, Seth MacFarlane. That's his name, right?
Funny Family Guy man.
Yeah, funny Family Guy, man.
American Dad is quality at some point.
Cause I think the episodes are like an hour long or something, and that's why I watched it because I could use it to teleport through time. Cause dude, the last hour you're like in Nevada, so you can like smell California. You're like, "Dude, I'm almost there."
Yeah.
But
Smell acid poverty.
I can smell the
Grapes.
the grapes and the extensively high
Environmental instability.
all the weed.
Oh no, that's Oregon, man. Come on.
That's your room.
Shut up.
Um so either way, Land, I'm super tired, but I still need to drive the 1.5 hour to home from Sacramento, and I'm like falling asleep, dude. And then everybody's like calling me, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to get home. And I get too tired that I have to actually stop and eat McDonald's and drink their terrible, terrible coffee. Um, no, it feels like it's 4 in the morning to me when I'm doing this drive.
This is the same coffee that scalded the poor old woman.
Like 22
Like
years ago or something.
McDonald's got sued for like $1 trillion.
Yeah, like what was that? Like 2004?
Nuclear blasted coffee.
It wasn't that hot, but it
Hot
tasted
as fuck.
no. When I got it, it tasted awful though. It felt like it was like 4 or 5 in the morning to me, but it was like 1 p.m. when I was getting home, and then I came home and I slept all the way until like the next day, basically. So that was my first.
My memory doesn't go back that far.
Oh god, it's worse than I thought. You're an idiot. No comeback. So
You're out that window. Even though you're physically too big to go out that window, I'll make it. I'll make it work.
I mean, your speed and dexterity will defeat me, or whatever you say every time.
I said that once. You said it every time.
You unironically said it once though, so it's your fault.
To be fair, you were thicker.
Oh my god. Okay.
Back then.
Either way, that was my first time flying. I rate it, especially with what happened the second time, which is just basically a repeat, except I didn't have jet lag. I rate it like a 3 out of 10, if I'm gonna be honest with you. If I could avoid flying again in the future, at least economy, it's awful. I signed up for rewards though, and I have enough points from using my credit card that I can get one of the ways there in first class if I ever go back to Georgia. So at least I'll be able to do that. They got the big seats that fit my fat ass.
Reclining, you'll get better movies.
I think you get free alcohol in first class on Delta. I'm not sure, but I mean, anything is better than what I had before, so that's fine with me.
Isn't Delta the airline that took like those 2 gay movies off? Do you think if you go first class, you'll get those 2 gay movies back?
Maybe. Delta's the one who was like, don't pay your union dues. You can buy an Xbox One with that money. So they might just
console.
They might just be giving out Xbox Ones in first class that I don't know about. They had a net in first class that made it look like they were smoking, and I was like, "Are they smoking?" And they're like, "No, there's no smoking allowed on an airport. I mean, on an airplane." And I could have swore I saw a dude with a cigar. I was like, "Are they just first class lie to you? Is that the joke?" Like,
fucking middle class bitch doesn't need to know shit. Doing opium back there. They're old school.
It's an opium den at the front of the plane.
That's the secret about first class. Go out there, it's like a speakeasy. Everyone's drinking absinthe and smoking opium.
But only on the other side of the net.
It's like Johnny Depp in the corner doing laudanum.
Oh god.
The guy smoking salvia.
Johnny Depp looking like a bald skeleton.
Still in the blackface from that remake of.
Oh my god.
One movie. Was it Lone Ranger?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's my review of flying economy on Delta. Give it a hard 3 out of 10. Not great, but also not the worst thing I've ever done in my life.
Did you pay for first class if it came with Quaaludes?
Dude, I would. Because you could then
excited for that.
No, I mean you could like resell them on the flea market for like 10 billion rubles, I bet.
Oh shit. Really in that, a capitalist mood. Quaaludes were in the picture, you'd go drug dealer in a minute.
Basically. Okay, so what is your first review back, Jacob?
I guess to segue from the last episode, I finished all of Star Trek except the last movie. I also didn't watch a lot of the TOS stuff, but that's just because I'm retarded. I have this weird thing, like, I like old stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you get past a certain point. Like, I want to say, like, the year is like 1959. Right before right after Color, where I just can't watch it. It's just too much of a disconnect. You know what I mean?
So you would watch black and white stuff, but you wouldn't watch like brand new color stuff. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean I wouldn't watch black and white stuff and early colors.
Oh,
Like I
okay,
said,
okay,
anything newer than 1959 I'll watch or I will enjoy.
okay, okay.
I would have to go out of my way to watch something before that.
Hmm.
But anyways, if I were to summarize it completely, I would say DS9 is the best because of its fantastic side character. I mean, every single one of them has an extreme positive. I mean, Garrick's the best. Come on.
Okay.
Voyager sucked except for like EMH. That episode with Andy Dick was pretty good.
Wait, Andy Dick was in an episode?
Andy Dick was in one episode of Star Trek Voyager, and I saw a behind the scenes YouTube video where the only reason he was in it was because he liked Star Trek and was friends with the guy that played the EMH. I forgot what his name is, like something Picard, which is the joke.
That's the way you said that's the joke?
Well, actor's name, last name is also Picard. I remember like somebody made a joke about that. Is Captain Picard from TNG and shit.
Okay, okay.
Enterprise is fun, but man, that finale is just a giant fuck you. And Porthos is the best. I don't know. I don't care what anybody says.
Okay.
It's the best addition to any Star Trek cast ever. You get a dog.
Is this dog have a name?
Yeah, it's Porthos. That's what it
Oh,
says.
oh, okay,
He's a
okay.
beagle. I mention it every time I see a beagle, either to you or Mike. I say, "Ah, dude, I fucking love Porthos," and neither of you get it.
Yeah,
But I
neither
love
of us
it.
have
I
watched.
love it. I say it for me, not for you.
I mean, that's all you can ask for, right?
As far as the movies go, they're not great. We said the first one sucked, and then like Into Darkness was good, but they were both okay.
Oh, you watched those Star Trek movies?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
I watched out of like the other movies. I watched half of Generations, and right after Enterprise crashed, and I was like, eh. I have no idea what else is going on. There was some weird plot line with fucking Klingons doing some dumb shit. But it really didn't fucking matter.
In the grand scheme of things.
Really didn't. I think they just wanted a reason to crash the Enterprise and then get a new one. I didn't even get to the part where Kirk came back and chilled out with Picard. I didn't even care to get to that part. I watched First Contact because all the Borg footage was really cool. And Captain Picard's speech that he rips from Moby Dick is really says something along the lines of if my heart was a cannon, if my chest was a cannon, my heart would burst forth upon it. I'm butchering that shit. But I loved it. It was great. That's it.
Okay,
That's
so
my grand review of Star Trek.
okay,
DS9's the best. Enterprise is cool. Voyager sucks. TNG's hard to rewatch.
wait, okay, so you'd already seen TNG and then I had watched some with you. Why is it hard for you to rewatch it?
TNG has a lot of stellar episodes, like the Best of Both Worlds and the Lighthouse one, or the one where Picard like lives an entire second life and then plays the flute.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch all the filler episodes in between, and once you know what's already going to happen, there's nothing good about them. You just end up rewatching the same good episode.
Okay, well that's fair with any like long running show. I mean, no one wants to watch filler episodes in anime unless it's like your favorite, or nobody wants to watch filler episodes on any show. Like even
Maybe it's because I tried rewatching it so soon, but there were some episodes where I could watch the first minute, immediately remember the plot, and be like, "Oh, I don't really want to watch this again." But then there were episodes like that one where Picard lives an entire I'm forgetting the name of it, but you know what I mean.
mhm.
Where I'll know the plot, but the episode is still really good, and I'll still rewatch.
Yeah, that would
DS9 and even Voyager have more episodes like that.
yeah, okay, I understand what you mean then. So if you had to rate each individual series with a number, of course, not counting TOS, what would you
It's
give them?
it's hard to rate them as a number because they're large series with like 7 seasons each, except for
Okay.
Enterprise. Rest in peace. It's way easier just to rate them by like how they compare to each other.
Okay, so you would say DS9 is just the best compared to all of them.
Yes.
Okay.
You should still
So
watch
that
them in
gives me.
order because they do take place in different timelines, or not different time, different points in time.
Yeah, and they are chronological, right?
Yes,
Okay.
TNG leads into DS9. Well, DS9 actually starts right after Best of Both Worlds. So if you want to be all cool and like watch it in actual episodic format, be a badass and look up the infographic.
I think only people like you who are technically Trekkies would do that.
I wouldn't even go that far, dude. I now that I've watched a bunch of Star Trek, I thought I would be more sympathetic to like the fan con culture because I've never hated. I've never liked conventions. I've never liked it. I think it's like a giant cringe fest. But I thought after watching Star Trek, I'd be all cool with it. But no, now it makes me hate it even more because like I like these characters and I respect these actors and I know they're just going convention after convention in the convention circuit, taking the same pictures, hearing the same quotes. I'm so sad for these people. I would never ever want to be a fledgling actor and get cast into a Star Trek series.
Yeah, it sounds
Thank God
tough.
Anton Yelchin got out. He dodged a bullet there, but didn't dodge that truck.
Oh my god. Jacob, you can't say stuff like that.
It's been like 3 years, man. It's cool. It's cool.
Okay, so with your review of it, I actually have been no joke. Up until you had watched it and then gave it glowing praise, I legitimately never cared about DS9. I had no interest in it. Everyone always said it kind of sucked. But I actually kind of want to watch it now because you've hyped it up. Not hyped it up, but I mean you've said that it's actually good. You know what I mean? So I'm probably gonna end up watching.
DS9 has is a special type of series that has good enough world building where you'll think about it afterward. You'll think about that was a really clever thing they did. You know, over time, like all these religious people like switched from the beginning of the series to like the middle of the series. I think that's genuinely cool. I think DS9 really did a good job having the characters work into the world like that.
And that's the best aspect. How good world building is for people like us.
Anyways, enough talk about a series that has died. What did you do?
What do you mean?
What's your next review, bud?
Oh, I want to talk about the big important one, man.
Go for
I
it.
I want to talk about our 10-hour drive to
Oh
Vegas.
shit. Okay. How in depth
And
do you want us to get? Do you is our insurance watching?
what does that even mean?
Because I mean, we have to talk about the 10-hour drive up. That was an odyssey.
Okay, so to sum it up fairly quickly, we decided to drive from here where we live in Chico to Vegas through Reno instead of going down to the valley, the Central Valley where our family is, staying there and then driving to Vegas from there. Mainly due
Long
to,
drive. It's a lot of nothing.
oh my god,
It's a very lot of nothing.
the problem is like you think, oh, it's nothing. I've driven lots of roads that are nothing, but unironically, there are like 2 to 3 hour stretches where there is nothing but like busted up cars, mountains, sand, and signs that tell you where a rest stop is 63 miles ahead. Like, no joke. There's not even sides of the road to pull over on. Like, they're just like we thought it was gonna be nothing. Like how California's are like, oh, there's nothing here, and there's like a gas station every couple of exits or whatever. No, there's nothing. Between cities, there's like nothing. There was a time where we were driving. Jacob was in the back, and Michael was shotgun while I was driving, and this city was in the distance, and we are like, oh, we'll get there soon. And then we never got there. We drove for like an hour and a half. We were like, maybe that city is Vegas because we can't actually ever get to the city, apparently.
So I
Like,
wouldn't call myself a novice driver. I'm not a very experienced driver, but I'm not a novice. I've driven like 4-hour stretches straight. I
mhm.
was thinking like, oh, it's a 10-hour drive. We'd split. It would be like that 4-hour drive, just a little bit longer. No, it's not like that. It's worse because you start driving and you think like, oh, I've been driving for like 2 hours, and you look, you've only been driving for an hour, and your eyes are like popping out of your head. You
Exactly.
cannot keep your eyes straight. You're like drifting. I had the worst part. I drove the first four because I think we switched right around Reno.
Yeah, which is
I
three.
could
We
not
switched
see
three and a
the
half.
I could not see the lines on the road at some point. Thank God. I don't even know. It's hard to explain. If there were cars on the road, I would have been able to tell where the other side of the road was. It's
Exactly.
because
Yes.
it was pitched and we were the only cars on the road. I could have been like in on like a straight dirt path at some point and never would have known it. I had
Exactly.
to like go up a hill and like take a second to find the lines on the road and then correct myself.
It
It was
was really bad. So we decided that we were gonna leave at like 4 in the morning or something. Like I forget what time we said we were gonna leave. So we tried to go to bed early enough to um wake up and drive that time, but we went to bed like 6 p.m., which we no one in this house has ever gone to bed at 6 p.m. in their lives, I bet.
I have.
Like like
It was a different time, different place.
but as an
You need
adult
prep.
is what I'm saying. Yeah,
You need prep
exactly.
for that.
You can't just go I'm gonna go to bed at 6 p.m. So we go to bed at 6 p.m. and we're up at like 10. And I go to Jacob's room and he's like, "Yeah, I can't sleep anymore either." So we're like, maybe we should leave now. But Michael's asleep cuz he stayed up the whole day before 24 hours to try to get enough energy to sleep till like we needed to leave. And so we're like, okay, we'll go back to bed and then we'll leave at midnight. So we end up leaving at midnight. Um, we're driving through the country of where we live, which sucks at midnight. Then we're driving up the mountains near where we live, which sucks at like 1 in the morning. And then we finally get to Reno, and we're like, wow, it looks so cool. No, I've been to Reno like 5 times for work.
It's not
So
cool. It
it,
looks cool, not cool.
yeah, it looks cool. It's not physically cool. Reno's like whatever if you live there. It's probably better if you live there. If you're visiting for work, it sucks. Um, but we go through Reno and then we're out of it like in 15 minutes max. Where we just pass through, then we get on this country road, we go to a gas station, which we did not know would be the last gas station for like 2 hours. Then me and Jacob switch. We're driving. The GPS has us go through cities that have like a population of like 22 people and all this crazy stuff, right? So then um we get to a part where it's just open desert and
Yes.
the freeway and the sun is just coming up and I am dying, like
I've
no
been talking
joke.
at this point. Michael's
Yes,
passed out in the back.
I am just passing out, man, on
I
the
know what it is.
verge of death. And Jacob goes, "Hey, man, you might want to pull over." In my mind, I was like, "There's a rest stop coming up ahead." No, I'm gonna be honest. I was falling asleep and waking up constantly while driving. I knew I was, but there were no cars on the road, so there was no chance of us hitting anything really. So I was like, well, at the next rest stop, I'm gonna pull over and I'm gonna get out and go pee, take a nap for 15 minutes or whatever, wash my face, and then take off again. But Jacob's like, hey, can you switch because you're dying
Pull
or
a
whatever?
veto. I pull a veto. I say no. Switch. I'll drive.
Yeah, so he drives for like an hour and a half.
Now, I need to interject in here because I need to insert the fact that this entire drive, since I stopped driving in Reno, I've been eating edibles.
Yeah, so he's high.
A little bit. Now, I'm weird with edibles where they don't last very long and they don't ever really come on that strong. So I had eaten like two 50 milligram edibles right after we got at Arena, and they passed a long time ago. And at some point, I had eaten a couple of more. I hadn't felt them yet, but I knew Alex was in supreme danger.
Yeah,
So
so
I kind of trusted my instinct here, and I drove.
he was like, "Hey man, I'm still probably going to be a better driver than you would be right now in this scenario." So he comes in. This is legitimately the first time ever that I'm like, Jacob is saving my life. So we switch, and he drives for only like an hour or an hour and a half or whatever. But I'm able to fall asleep, which is what's important, right?
Meanwhile,
So
I have literally like it hits. It does hit. And I'm just driving in a straight line watching the sun come over the desert. And they hit. And like Red Hot Chili Peppers is playing. And they're passed out in the car. And I'm just like vibing.
the maximum vibe,
I'm
biggest
like
vibe
max
ever.
vibing.
And
I'm max vibing.
the best part about this drive is there's literally it's like baby's first drive because the road is just straight through the desert. There's nothing crazy. He just has to drive the car at 70 miles an hour on this road going
Cruise
straight.
control. I just have to keep it straight.
Exactly.
Jam out whatever's on my playlist and they're past. And then we go through this weird like squiggly town over a hill and then we switch.
Yeah,
And
we
then
switch, we buy sunglasses. Then we stop at another town that has like a Denny's, right? We don't eat at that Denny's, but we stopped at the Denny's to switch again. Um, because we had switched for some other reason. I forget what it was. Then we drive out of that town, which is only an hour and like 15 minutes away from Vegas. We come into Vegas the direction that I guess no one ever comes in. And as soon as we like even get slightly close to Vegas, instantly the traffic sucks.
oh yeah, we hit also the weirdest corner of Vegas. We come in from like the north side.
Yeah, that would be the north side, yeah.
And there's like nothing but like parking lots
Yep.
and like apartment buildings
Mm-hmm.
and just like fucking highways and freeways everywhere.
This is clearly the part of Vegas that people who live in Vegas go to, not the people who are there for a vacation.
You drive straight through and then all of a sudden you're like in between the strip.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. And that's it.
So we followed that. we're in the car, and then me and Michael are arguing because he doesn't want me to say that the traffic is bad, because instantly he can tell that I'm upset because the traffic is really bad in Vegas.
Also, the second we hit Vegas, he puts on the new Vegas soundtrack.
Oh, of course, that's a classic at this moment. So we get to Vegas. We stop at our very first stop. We go to the New York to eat at this restaurant we went to last time we were there. And they charge us $16 parking. So already not on a good foot when it
So
comes
we
to
visited this restaurant the first or second time we went.
maybe the second time.
And we all had really good food. It's all expensive. Everything you get in Vegas is expensive. But the food was really good. I had these sliders. A friend of ours had like jalapeno, like a jalapeno waffle, jalapeno chicken pancakes, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, something like that. I think it was Nashville hot chicken pancakes.
Yeah. And it was so good. We're like, oh, we gotta come. And we come to Vegas again. We don't visit it, and then we come in this, and they don't have the sliders I like. You get something different.
Mm-hmm.
Then Michael gets something, and all of it is significantly worse than the
But the
last time we
but the price has not changed. Actually, I think it has
gotten higher.
increased. Yes, it has gone up since the last time we were
I
here.
got a sandwich that was about half the size of like the 4 sliders I got the last time.
Mm-hmm. So about the size of 2
about
sliders.
the same price, and it was not even that good.
Yeah, the food that we got there was not that good. So I deemed it. I was like, you know what? We're not going to come here again. So no, it's like, what time is it right now? Like 1:30. It's like 1:30 right now.
We didn't get in our Airbnb until 4.
Yeah, we can't get into our Airbnb until 4. And I
We're
emailed the chick.
mentally and physically devastated.
Yes, we're exhausted. So we decide to kill time by walking around the strip. No, this may be the worst decision I've made in my life, because this has we didn't even walk that far, and it was the least fun I had ever had on a vacation in my life. We walked into this expensive Italian place that we knew we couldn't ever eat at in a million years.
Our second worst time in our lives ever since we moved up here was all three of us standing in a Trader Joe's realizing we didn't. This was like the same thing, but times 8, because the people that shop at these places on the strip are magnitudes richer than us, magnitudes
Oh,
whiter than us.
infinitely whiter, infinitely richer. It's like I'm never in my life, unless I like hit it big and lose a bajillion pounds. I'm never gonna shop at Dolce and Gabbana. I'm never gonna go to eat Banana Republic. I don't think like
Never
these,
gonna
huh?
never gonna buy a silk dress. I'm never gonna buy these like diamond encrusted high heels in the mall of Planet Hollywood. I'm not gonna
Exact
go to the Venetian and get
exactly.
coffee.
So this stuff is definitely not for us, but by the time we realize that we're done with it, we're so far away from our car. So we have to walk all the way back, which
You also
sucked.
you also flirted with some like weird uh some weird discount card services.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You were trying to get signed up for like a big discount package, and you got like run around to like 2 different places. What was that?
Oh yeah, so I went to this discount ticket place, which I had heard about, and I was like, "Hey, how much is it for this show?" Because I told Jacob and Michael that we were gonna go to a Vegas show this trip, so I was like, "How much is this show?" And they're like, "Oh, it's this much off," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I stand in line and I talk to them, and they're like, "It's this much," and I'm like, "Okay, well that's as much as it is like online, so that's not really saving me any money." So then I'm like, oh, there's another one this way, and I'm reading Google Maps wrong because of course I am. Why I'm getting screwed in every single situation. I um get lost and I'm like, let's just walk this way, and we walk down that way, and I eventually find the other company that does discount show tickets, and I go and they give us a decent price, but they also give us this card that gives us discounts to these restaurants and stuff. And they were like, "Oh wow, it's your birthday in a couple of days? Is that why you're here?" I'm like, "Oh no, it just happens to line up. Obviously, yeah, of course that's why I'm here, but I don't want them to be like, "Oh, we got this birthday discount or something." So I just buy the tickets. It cost me $300 to get us the tickets and the discount card. Um which was a lot more than I thought it
So
was
we
going to
did
be.
use it for 2 things that we planned on using. We did go to the spa, and I didn't think did we still get the Brazilian thing, or did we just pay for a different package?
No, no, no. We got that. That was still
Okay.
50% off. So basically, to sum it up, we spent a lot of time on that strip, and then I got screwed out of a lot of money, which is will be a running theme on this trip, by the way. Uh, we went to our Airbnb, but we still had an hour. We couldn't get in, so we went to the bank so Jacob could put some money in his account, and then we kind of just sat in the bank parking lot.
We went to a weird game store that had nothing in it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We went to a card shop there, and they only had like singles of
They had
Magic cards.
singles, they had like storage boxes for cards, and then they had a room in the not a room in the back, or the back wall had a bunch of
Oh
NES
yeah, like
and
NES and Super
N64 games.
NES games. Yeah,
And they didn't have Iggy's Wrecking Balls. I was so emotionally hurt,
yeah.
devastated.
He was so ready to buy that game, but the dudes were like pissed that we left without buying anything. I was like, dude, I'm sorry, man. You ain't got like single packs. I'm dipping. And then um we were just vibing in a parking lot waiting till 4. Then we finally went to our Airbnb, and
Well, it
then we
took us
went
some
to
time to
sleep.
find it. Well, it took us some time to decipher the entrance keypad, and then it took us some time.
Yeah, it took us some time to find it because it's like building something, and then the building number isn't on the building. So it's like,
So
oh.
the Airbnb note said to punch in like a pound sign and a, but you and Michael got really confused and just kept punching in the code, and then it wouldn't let you in, or it would call some.
Yeah, so the first time we did it, I didn't see that the period um, was after a pound sign. So I accidentally pressed the buttons and it called some woman, and she was,
And we ended up just driving in behind somebody.
yeah, even though we shouldn't have done that. And then so we get in the Airbnb, we go to bed. We take a nap or something, and then I forget what we did that night. Where
Oh,
did
your
we
bed
go?
broke. We switched beds.
Oh yeah, but the bed broke. So this lady bought the bed frame like from IKEA or something. Like
Bargain bin IKEA. It looks like
she probably got it from like
faux
big.
70s
She got it from
futurist
like
shit.
she got it from like Big Lots or something because
It's built
the
out of like bungee cords and 2x4s.
yeah, the frame doesn't fit the mattress. So when you sit on it, since the mattress is so soft, it caves in and then it just falls in.
Oh
And
god.
especially since I'm a fat dude, that's, magnified. So we switch beds and that other bed has the same issue just less often. And then I end up engineering some way where I put my suitcase under it to hold up the mattress while I'm sleeping on it. So that way it doesn't cave in and I don't fall through.
Dude, and the fucking Cox off-brand Comcast on-demand bullshit.
Oh yeah, the
Dude, it could not handle going through the channels at any speed. And any time you would pick a program, take like 10 minutes. What is Cox doing?
Yeah, that was like the worst cable we've ever had, ever.
2019.
Like the on demand would crash, like legitimately just crash, and you'd have to restart the movie. Like, oh, it's so bad, man. Um, where did we? Well, it's taking a long time, so maybe I should
The
skim
first day, we
through.
didn't do much except get there, get into our Airbnb, and then we ate at the South lot, South something. What was it called?
Which place was this?
It was the buffet at the casino, the Cowboy
Oh
buffet.
yeah, yeah. We ate at South Point, the hotel casino, because it was down the street from our Airbnb,
Yeah.
and so we went because it was cheap and it
Yeah,
was.
so that card worked with the buffet, I think, didn't it?
Mhm. Then we went to the second day. We went to Fremont Street, and then we had some fun. We ate deep dish pizza. We went to the Mob Museum, which was a scam, by the way. So anybody, uh, I suggest
Oh
not
yeah,
going there. It's
ironic that
very.
the Mob Museum of any place. Oh, good one, Al. Good one.
It's too expensive for what you get. It's definitely not worth it.
It's like split
Um,
into three floors, and the first floor is like waiting in line until you kill. And the second floor is like
until
all the
you kill
props.
yourself. Yeah. So
The
on the
second
first
floor
floor,
is the props that you see in all the movies, and then you see the wall, and it has like red splotches on it. And you're like, no way, that's real. And then they immediately say, oh, it was put there for effect. Like, yeah, of course you chose red paint.
it really was. It really was a big scam.
And then the
Um,
third floor is like the gift shop, a firing range that you have to pay extra for. Is that a real firing range? Do you get to shoot real guns? What is?
we'll never know because they were like, "Yeah, what's extra with the package?" I was like,
Then you get to listen to like interviews and recordings of
which was
real
actually
real shit.
that was that floor was legitimately like the best part of the whole thing, but it was not worth the money. It was like $30, and so it was just a waste of time.
Our entire trip to Fremont just reinforced the advice I got from my uncle, which was the strip sucks, Fremont's the best. Because the best places to eat we ate at, aside from the Brazilian place, were both in that Fremont Street. That deep dish pizza place and that taco place was fantastic.
mhm.
I mean, we did lose all of our money at that electronic roulette, but we can't hold that against him. We can hold that against someone else. I mean, you might want to start that story.
Okay, so I'm gonna to wrap up the story because it's taking a bajillion years to talk about this Vegas
We were
trip.
there for
A lot,
5 days.
yeah, we were there for 5 days, so a lot of stuff happened. But basically, the biggest betrayal is we decided to go to Fremont to gamble because they had an electronic roulette machine, which meant one, I didn't have to get actual chips. Two, I didn't have to talk to a roulette dealer. And three, I could just sit there while a woman brings me drinks. So that was perfect for what we
Oh,
were
I
looking
can't
for.
believe that woman that brought us drinks. I can't believe she asked me for my age.
Oh, did she really?
Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
So the second time we were there, I asked them what cocktails they had, and she named the top three cocktails I didn't want, which was a mimosa and then a tequila sunrise. And then I paused, and then she asked me how old I was, and I was like 23. And then she was like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay, I don't like tequila. What do you want?"
Oh, I remember this conversation. I just didn't remember her asking you your age. Okay, so either way, we're there, we're chilling, right? And I was like, man, I gotta only get like $40 for gambling because I've already spent way too much on this trip. So we're vibing. I've figured out a betting system that's slowly getting me more money over time. And some dude rolls up in a wheelchair and is like, "Oh yeah, man, I used to work at casinos." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." He's like, "Yeah, man, you need to not do those bets, man. It takes too long. See, you do this bet and you'll get a bunch of money." So he makes me bet all my money on this thing called red snakes, which is where you put a chip on each connected red square on roulette, and then it hits, and I win $36. And I'm like, "Oh shoot, okay, I'm gonna listen to this guy." So then, I should have been like, "Cool coincidence, guy. Thanks for the advice," and told him to leave. But no, he goes, "Okay, man, now you need to bet all your money on what is it called, Jacob?
Black Devil.
I think it's like called Black Splits or something, right?"
Black Splits, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, "Okay, fine." I listen to this guy, and of course, it does not hit. I've now lost all my money in one bet. And the guy goes, "Yeah, man, that's just the way it is. You got to have more money if you want to actually gamble on these machines." And then he takes off. That's it. I was like, "What?" This guy, I was adamant, man, that the casino sent this guy to trick me into wasting my money.
See, I was lucky. I already lost most of my money, so I didn't have enough to do that initial Red Snakes bet, or I totally would have been in.
So then I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to get my last 40 out," even though I shouldn't have done that. Listen to everybody who's listening. When you've said this is my last money, that should mean this is your last money. That doesn't mean actually go get the rest of your money out of your account. So then I put 20 in, and I go up to like $60 doing my bets, right? And the guy comes up again and tries to convince us, and I'm just ignoring him, and he's just talking or whatever out of his butt. And then he takes off. And then Jacob is like, "Dude, do red snakes." And I'm like, "Bro." And then I do it and I win some money. And it's just like back and forth on that. But then, so the weirdest thing is when I was making my comeback, it hit black like 22 times in a row. So in retrospect, if I had just max betted on black every single time, I'd be like rich.
But
But
you would have made incrementally more money. You would have been like, "Damn, I've turned my $40 into $60."
no, if I had bet 40 on black, I would have had 80. Then I bet 80 on black, I would have had 160, then 320, and then just kept going. You know what I mean?
Hindsight is the worst thing to have while gambling, dude. Don't do it.
Yeah, of course.
See, you
It,
had to
it
be
wouldn't
like,
it wouldn't work, and if I did it then. But I'm just saying that that's how
you
it
had to be like
was.
me in the moment giving you advice. I was just feeling like I was feeling the future.
He was like, "Dude, I'm feeling red snakes."
I wasn't saying red snakes every time. I was waiting for the feeling, and I was like red snakes. And remember, every time I said it, you didn't do it. It hit. It hit.
So ridiculous. So eventually, everyone's like, "Let's just go. We've been here for 3 hours. You've been gambling, just like making your money back for 3 hours. Let's just leave." And so I'm like, "Okay, fine." And I just bet it all, and I lose it, of course, because I'm an idiot. And so then we leave, and we go to this Mexican restaurant, and Jacob's like, "I hate nachos. I don't know why I came here." So he's complaining about the nachos the entire time. He doesn't even get nachos; he gets tacos.
They're
And
the best tacos I've ever eaten. Those were fan fucking tastic.
see, so he liked them. So I don't know why he was being a little baby, but um, the next day we drive back through Fresno this time. So it's only it was a 5 hour trip from Vegas to Fresno, right?
Yeah, only the part in Arizona sucks. And then you get into California, it's like, yes, home.
No, part of Nevada sucks.
Yeah, Nevada. Shit.
Yeah, through the desert. Oh, we went to Hoover Dam and then we spent a couple minutes in Arizona. It was cool. And then that was it.
The most of the fun we got out of being at the Hoover Dam was just making New Vegas reference.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's a cool building and it's cool to see, but I mean, what else am I gonna do there, right?
And just
Walk it and make New
remember the
Vegas
Battle of
reference.
Hoover.
I wonder, like
You shot the
anybody
president.
listening to our conversation must have thought that we were just like idiots. Like all the boomers there must have just been like
What are they
annoyed
talking
with
about?
us. But yeah, that's our Vegas trip summed up. I would give the Strip a 2 out of 10 because it's too expensive, and Jacob knocked over a crackhead's bottle of
It was so fucking
alcohol.
weird. I was
Oh,
getting like, I was getting so slumped from that
so we're getting
fucking.
we're getting drunk, and we see this crackhead outside of the doors who has like 3 bottles in front of him, and he's just like vibing basically. And we walk out, and me and Michael are walking around the bottles, and Jacob just walks out and kicks over the bottles, shattering them,
I'm walking right
spilling
behind you. I didn't see this
spilling the
shit.
liquor out everywhere. But this dude is too high to even care. So we just take off. We just leave. We're not gonna get into a fight with somebody.
Get
We're
out
not
of
gonna.
there.
We just teleport away. Um, but I don't like the strip. It's too expensive. Gambling's too expensive. But Fremont, was pretty sick. I did like it. So when we go back, we're probably just gonna be chilling in downtown uh, Vegas, saving us a lot of
Staying in
money.
Fremont.
Yeah, maybe even that. So it was cool. It was a nice vacation away, um, vibing, etc. Yeah, I give the strip a 2. I give Fremont Street a 7. I give the trip.
Drive through Reno fucking sucked. We're taking a plane again, even though we just talked shit on.
Oh yeah. I hate flying, but I'm not gonna drive 10 hours. If we still live here, next time we go to Vegas, we're gonna fly. That's just plain and simple. Too annoying.
I hope, dear God, I make more money.
Yeah, just have more money.
Anyway,
It's easy.
before we went to Vegas, we saw a nice little movie.
Oh yeah.
Saw the Jokah, baby.
Yes. Jacob's famous tagline.
So we adore a little YouTube video about a young man doing an audition.
It's not even us. The internet adores this video.
Adores.
Clearly.
So when we were going in to see this movie, we could not stop ourselves every couple of minutes looking for a reason to say it's the Joker.
Exactly. Because it's too easy.
So throughout this entire movie, we're giggling like schoolgirls, whispering to each other at every moment. He introduced me as the Joker, baby.
It's a good. Dude, shout out to Thomas for the meme on Twitter right now. When you bring me out, can you introduce me as the boomer or as the pupper? Those are classic memes. Shout out to Thomas.
If I were to actually review the movie, I would say it's kind of like pulling teeth and then getting to punch your dentist afterward. It's an enjoyable experience from front to back, but you don't want to do it again. I don't ever want to watch the Joker again, but I'm glad I did. Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor. And the story's pretty good. I think the connection to Batman was a little ham-fisted, but you know what? If you're into that, you're into that. Everybody talking about how this is some white incel fantasies retarded. It's about mental illness. You're an idiot.
No one's talking about that anymore now. Actually, because the movie did really well. Shout out to the movie for doing more than $1 billion as an R-rated movie. That's a huge deal in modern movies.
Dropped off of his therapist and stops taking his medication. This is not. It's not a story about white supremacists. Also takes place in the 70s. Also a Batman movie. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Like how you said, I felt like the movie tying into the superhero elements was a little ham-fisted and kind of lazy, just to get people to be like, "Oh, it's a superhero movie," but the overall theme of the movie was pretty good. I enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I would want to rewatch it, unlike you, but I don't want to rewatch it for a while. It is really difficult to get through. A lot of stuff happens that makes you. It didn't make me uncomfortable, but I understand that's because I have a high tolerance. I would expect a lot of people to be uncomfortable with things that happen in that movie.
There's a couple points where it was very predictable, where you'd be like, "Oh, I see what's gonna happen." And you know how like comfortable it's gonna be, and you're like, was this necessary? Yeah. I just think that the first half where he's getting beat down and he's going to become the Joker, that could be trimmed down a little, maybe work in the turning into the Joker a little bit earlier, or make it slightly more gradual, happening over time. Maybe. I just think it gets repetitive.
Hmm. Yeah, you know, we talked about it after the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I did think that it was a little long.
Oh yeah, we had that crackhead start laughing in
Oh my
halfway.
god, yeah. She just started laughing and then she left. I was like, I don't get it.
Identifying, I guess.
I
The
mean,
vibing.
fitting for the movie. Um, but
Oh god. So before the movie started, me and Michael, we were playing a
oh my
game.
god, no, do not tell this story right
I
now.
have to tell the
No,
story. It's
you
very
can't. No,
good.
it's not. It's not a good story. It
I mean, we're
is not.
playing.
It is not
It
a.
was we live in Chico, California, right? Home of the forest fire,
No.
right next to Paradise. If you wonder why PG&E's going out, look to Paradise. So I'm playing this motorcycle game, and I picked the Yosemite level. Me and Michael are just chilling. We're just playing the game. I'm trying to do, and the last third of this level takes place in the Yosemite National Forest, and it's on fire. Immediately, me and
God.
Michael stop. We just stop playing, and we just start laughing. Because here we are in Chico, California, very close to Paradise, playing a motorcycle game where the last level in Yosemite is a forest fire. And this game is made in like 2006. It is like peak comedy for us.
It's just bad, man. It's just bad timing with that
It
level.
was it was so good. It was so good.
So they're dying laughing at this joke, and I just had the worst experience of my life buying beer.
He's trying to buy beer at a movie theater. I don't know if anybody's done that before, but it's not you're not supposed to do that.
What do you mean the movie theater sells beer? It's not like I was like hey dude, do you sell beer here?
No, but they
Like
made you go to a separate bar
yeah,
right next
I
to the
was like
concession.
hey, can I buy some beer? He's like, oh, you can't buy it here. You gotta buy it at the bar side. And I was like, okay. And then I'm like, hey, can I just get the can? He's like, nah, man, we gotta pour it out. I'm like, why?
Yeah. You
Why?
see, and you come and you approach us dying in laughter. Well, you have your two beers because you buy two beers for your whole movie. Good job, dude. You should have. You're a big dude. You need more than two beers.
I'm not paying $30 for beer.
Also, yeah, it's super expensive because it's a movie theater. They overcharge you for popcorn. It's gonna overcharge you for beer.
Yeah, that's why I only bought two. You're like reacting as if I did the wrong thing by only buying two.
Should have just snuck it in your ass.
Oh my god. Too much heat.
Yeah, dude, you get your Bud Light Chelados.
Dude, just sneak them in as Arizona's. um yeah, Joker's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would say watch it unless for some reason you're very very sensitive to graphic material. That's not even that graphic of a movie. It just has a lot of death in it. I didn't like Thomas Wayne's actor. That's probably like the only casting
He was
problem I
only
have.
in it for a little bit.
Yeah, but
He
I
was in it for
mean,
a whole lot.
that was like the only casting problem I had. Um, that's about it. The last thing I think I wanted to go over stuff really quick was I've now listened to both of them, but I was gonna review Kill Bill and Rav's album, but they have two projects out together now. And if you like hip hop music, I would suggest that you listen to it. Um, the first project is called New Moon, and the second project is called. Let me check what I always forget. Uh, man, how did I? Oh, Solar Flare. There we go. Both very good albums. I enjoyed them very much. Jacob thought they were. He didn't like them as much as me, but I'm just a fanboy. I would suggest that you guys listen to them. I'll just keep it brief. I'm a huge fan of both of those artists, and their coming together project was honestly pretty great. We've been going a while now, so I'm gonna try to call it. Jacob, do you have anything to say before we go?
Yeah, I got a bone to pick with Rav.
No. He's not listening to the.
I got a bone. I got a bone to pick. I got to put this on record.
This is such a stupid complaint too. It's
And
actually.
new son, don't put the word hentai so close to Tribe Called Quest. That's not right. That's not right.
You're so.
That's not right. It's not. It didn't. It made me feel uncomfortable. It's like your parents coming in when you're jacking off or something. It's not cool.
How
It's
are,
not cool.
dude? How does that even have? See, what you're saying
Don't.
is it's not. It's not
things
right.
you
Like
don't.
words can't be together. It's just such a stupid.
It's like the word equivalent of getting two foods you don't like mixed together. It's two concepts you don't want to associate.
Yeah, but
with each
only a
other, and now
person
they
as
are
stupid
because of
as
this
you
song.
would care about food being mixed together like that.
I'm trying to communicate you the same feeling. I don't really care if my peas get in my mashed potatoes, but I really do care about associating a Tribe Called Quest with hentai. I
He
really
didn't
do.
associate. He just never mind.
It's
I'm not
now
even gonna argue this.
associated in my
I'm never
head.
gonna argue. That's because you're a brainlet.
Fuck you.
Okay. Now that
All
you've got it out, thank you
That's all
everybody
I need.
for listening. It really means a lot to have any type of support with this. If you guys have any constructive criticism or anything you want to say, go ahead and let us know personally, or you can leave a comment on the YouTube upload when it's done. Like I said before I go, in the Twitch description, there is a link for Jimmy's GoFundMe, and I will put it in the YouTube video once we upload it too. It'd mean a lot to me, like I said. Thank you so much for the support. This is episode 2 of our Review It podcast. Hopefully, when we come back in the future, it won't be a 8-month gap, and we might have Michael on or something like that.
I will get him to review his life.
Yeah,
Good one.
Michael reviewing his life, putting a number on it, just his whole life. It'd be great. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you have a good night.
Happy holidays.
Oh yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. If we don't talk to you by then, happy Christmas, or Merry Christmas, or
Your alcoholic eggnog,
or Kwanzaa,
weed with your
or
family.
yeah, enjoy your alcohol and your weed, and good night.